Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I'm sure you can tell from the title, today I'm going to talk about the fact that healing isn't linear. Also, excuse the lighting, it's going to be changing because I'm using natural lighting from the window. Secondly, I'm not keen on the hairdo, but can I be arsed changing it? No. I've been recording myself, talking to my camera about all the different mental health issues that I've ever faced for almost 4 years now. I know I took a lot of my videos down and it is my intention to go through them all again and kind of see which ones I want to put back up. The point I wanted to make on that note is that it's wild how much has changed about me and in my life and my attitude. When I first started my videos, it's kind of backwards in a way because I was so confident, I didn't fear any kind of judgment. I was so naive and just excited to share who I was and what I'd gone through with the world. At that time I was newly 20 years old and I had just reached my 20s after pretty much dealing with mental health issues the whole of my teenage years. And I knew, even while I was a teenager, I knew that I wanted to share how I'd felt to help other people feeling like that. Because YouTube back in my day never had people talking about mental health issues. It was a great distraction tool because there was Get Ready With Me and vlogs and stuff like that, but nobody truly sat down and spoke about the hard things in life. And I would have really appreciated someone like that when I was 13, 14. So truly the reason I share any content on any platform is for myself, for that younger me that didn't have anyone. I know social media these days is a lot more open to sharing bad days and unaesthetic kind of things, but anywho, that's that point done, because to be quite honest I forgot where I was going with it. But rather quickly into my journey, I guess, on YouTube, I ran into judgment. I wasn't prepared for it at all, and I certainly wasn't prepared for who it came from. It is a very true statement that your enemies are probably so much closer to home than you realise, and your supporters are probably so much further away than you realise. And that is the good thing about social media. I could share on here and I could have someone from America who is my biggest supporter that I've never met and I might never meet, but my content resonates with them in a way that they feel that way, if that makes sense, as opposed to someone who lives down the street from me or went to school with me or sees me every day, who is, I don't know, jealous, has their own issues, doesn't want to see people doing good, or just thinks that you're a little bit cringe and they don't like you, which is fine. But yeah, I ran into judgment pretty quickly and honestly it threw me back about 10 steps in terms of my confidence. And that was coming from someone who was so insecure as a teenager and even as a child. Always really shy, always so insecure about how I looked and who I was and how I portrayed myself to people. And I finally got the balls to share myself with the world and not care what people thought, and I didn't expect that judgment. So I'd only just got the confidence and then it threw me back like 10 steps to a place I'd never even been before. And I guess I was just confused because I knew my intention and I knew who I was, kind of. And then since then I've been trying to build myself back up to feeling okay with sharing stuff again, and I share more on a different platform than I do on here now because this is open to anyone. I don't get to pick and choose, I don't get to block people on here. On other social media platforms I can block people, so people I expect judgment from, if I'm a little nervous and anxious, I can block them, but on here I can't do that. Which is why my content has been on and off on here for a while. Anywho, back to the point of the video. I do this all the time, I waffle on and then I forget my point. So yeah, I found myself in a place of like, it's kind of backwards because I started in a place that I had confidence, but I didn't know my style and I was very much a people pleaser and I cared way more about how I looked to other people than to me, and I valued other people's acceptance and validation a lot. Whereas the person I am now, I sometimes struggle, but for the most part I don't need people's validation. I know that me believing in me is enough and I don't need people's acceptance. Sure, I am still uncomfortable with conflict. If it were up to me, I don't want conflict, but if it needs to happen for somebody to respect me and listen to me, then it's gonna happen. And that's crazy because 20-year-old me who started this channel could never have dreamed of being in a conflict in order to be heard. I would never have done that. Anywho, so yeah, since then I've been really trying to get to a place that I don't fear people's judgment anymore. For the most part, that's fine. But there were two things that really knocked me the most in terms of why I fear people's judgment so much. The first one, I've already told you, that really big piece of like judgment came from someone I didn't expect that was so close to me, and it was just like a full 180 on what I thought that person was. So that's made me so cautious of what people think of me and are they being truthful, and I'm just stuck in this limbo now where I try my best to believe that people like me and it's okay that some people don't like me. But yeah, that changes. The second thing I have been so afraid to talk about for so long, basically I was assessed by a psychiatrist just before my 21st birthday, so in 2021, and I got a new diagnosis on top of the ones I already had, and it was extremely unusual of me to not come to YouTube and talk about it straight away, and that's because I'm very fearful of the judgment that brings, which is silly because a diagnosis shouldn't change what people think I am and what people see me as and what they know me as, but I've seen lesser things change people's opinions of me. So they're the two major things like really holding me back from just being who I am and sharing that the way that I used to. Anywho, we're not here to talk about just that, we're here to talk about the fact that healing isn't linear. I started therapy again last year around this time, and I honestly really just thought I'm gonna cry about some stuff, I'm gonna be angry about some stuff, and then that's all gonna be in the past and I'm gonna be a new person when I come out of there. That's not how that works. My whole life since I was going to therapy as a teenager to that last lot of therapy, I was waiting for it to be the one. What I mean by that is, in films and on TV, I've only ever seen it that someone goes through a trauma or hardships, they talk about with friends or family or their support group, or they go to therapy, they get all the big emotions out, they rant about it, they talk about it, they give it like a week to 6 months of their life, and after that point it's done, buried, gone, and they don't ever really reflect on it. I thought that's what therapy was going to do for me. I thought I would go into therapy almost like a little conveyor belt, and it would equip me with the skills to be straight away ready to go back to work, and it would make me instantly really likable to everyone, and I wouldn't have like issues socially anymore. I just thought it was going to work some magic trick and I was going to be everything I wanted to be. And again, that might be like really common knowledge to people, that's not how that works, but it wasn't common knowledge to me. It took me most of the time I was in therapy to actually accept that I'm going to be forever changing. I'm forever going to be taking 2 steps back, 5 steps forward, you know, however many. Like, that's forever going to happen. Life's always going to throw you back and forwards all the time. Healing isn't about always being on top and always being in a straight line like this and always growing. Healing is getting to a place that you're confident in your ability to handle hardships and you're confident in your ability to handle yourself. I feel like healing is just more about understanding who you are. I have boundaries now, and I'm not afraid to say no, and I'm not afraid of conflict if it means that someone's going to actually listen to me. And it is wild because the biggest change I saw in therapy, basically I've spoke about it on here a little bit, and this is a trigger warning because I'm going to talk about feeling suicidal. So basically I've been in a relationship for quite a long time now, and whenever we used to argue, me and my partner, that would feel like world ending for me, and I would instantly feel like I'm not worth anything, because if I'm not worth anything to them, I'm not worth anything to anyone, and I certainly didn't have any worth in myself. So a simple argument would lead to me feeling suicidal. It got really bad at one point, and I completely see myself as the issue there, by the way. I shouldn't have felt like that, that should never have been a problem, but the fact of the matter is I did feel like that, and an argument with anyone I deemed as important in my life would cause me to feel that way. And the last time I had a really bad argument with someone that I cared about, it was so unfamiliar to me because I didn't feel suicidal. I didn't instantly drop my worth because of an argument. I understood that people's feelings change and they're their own person, and I don't get to pick that. I don't get to pick how they feel. Honestly, it felt so nice, and it made me just feel so free from all that horribleness that I used to feel. And yeah, it's not to say that when that happens again that, you know, suicidal feelings won't be triggered, but it does mean that I'm capable, and I understand and I believe that I am capable of dealing with situations when they rise. I hope I've made sense. I always get really cautious, and I always have done, that I waffle on and it doesn't make sense. But I hope you followed, and I want the biggest thing that you take away from this to be that healing isn't linear. It's never going to be. You just need to be confident and believe that you are capable of dealing with hard things, and you need to look out for you. And as soon as you've got you right, everything else will kind of fall into place around that. Thank you for watching. Bye.